Hello, my name is Minivans94, and I would like to welcome you to the final goodbye of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 2023. So, first, I want to just get a couple things out of the way real quick. I will not be talking about was this a $70 DLC? Was this its own game? That's basically done. Game's over. Who cares? If you think it was a $70 DLC, that's great. If you think it was its own game, that's great too. I'm not going to really throw my hat in that ring because this is a complicated title. So, whatever. You think of whatever. Anyway, just wanted to make that clear. And I'm also not going to talk about campaign because of how complicated this game was. I could go in depth with that, but that's basically its own possible video or something, but plenty of people have covered that on other YouTube channels. Who cares? The campaign, I've got my opinions on it, and they're going to stay my opinions. And they're not going out into the world. It's whatever. The campaign, it is what it is. You can't fix it. So, basically, first, before we get into talking more on specific game modes, I just want to talk about what Sledgehammer did kind of with this game. The big thing that I'm actually very, very disappointed for that they have said with Black Ops 6 is not happening is the weekly challenge system. That was a fantastic reason to come back to the game weekly, I think. And that, I know I'm starting this video kind of on a downside for talking about Black Ops 6, but it is, I just want to talk about it quick. But that was a fantastic addition for Modern Warfare 3. It gave me a reason to come play this game weekly. And I'm glad that they did not be like, hey, you have to get 5 of the challenges in multiplayer. You have to do all of those. And then you have to do it in Zombies and Warzone. I'm glad that you were able to pick and choose between the 3 modes. Oh, I should probably mention, I'm not talking about Warzone in this video either. Because I personally think that's its completely own thing. It's not associated with each title. It's just associated with Call of Duty. Sure, it has its different aspects because of this title, but it's its own thing. So, if you want, in the comments, talk about Warzone, what was good this year and what wasn't, great. Put it down in the comments, because I'm not talking about it. But, yeah, the weekly challenge system, fantastic. The other thing that was very specific for all the modes, I felt, was the events. They did a really good job. Sometimes it was just play the game, just earn XP, and you get the rewards. Sometimes you had to do specific things. And most of the time, other than the Modern Warfare 3 Rewind, the last event, you could do specific things in Zombies Warzone multiplayer to earn the reward. You didn't have to be in a specific game mode. And I think they did that with DMZ in last year's title a little bit with some of those different events and stuff. But they carried that over this year. That was great. The events, fantastic. And that they did some different collabs like The Walking Dead, fantastic. And yeah. So, those were kind of the big things that I wanted to talk about that covered all the modes. Those were the big ones. There are the aftermarket parts. It's a cool system, especially because it can change guns and it makes you play the game different, possibly. Or you can run in with certain guns, and it's a different experience. It's a cool idea. I think some of the stuff that they put behind the not the aftermarket parts, but just kind of that unlocking system was bad. Like, they put kill streaks back behind it. Some of the aftermarket parts, where you had to complete challenges, guns and stuff, that some of that was a bad idea. But again, kind of going back to that weekly challenge or weekly event thing that I talked about a little bit earlier, a lot of times there was an aftermarket part if you did some of the challenges for week 1 through week 8 within the season. That's a cool idea. But it has its drawbacks. Or the armory, that's the main thing I'm thinking of, the armory. Where they put some aftermarket parts and We're not talking about the armory, that was a bad thing. Let's not bring that back. Exactly how they did it. Like, if you want to hide camos and calling cards and stuff, cool. But, like, guns, kill streaks, no, not a good system. So, let's kind of jump into actual multiplayer a little bit. So, now I'm showing off gameplay. So, kind of one thing that I talked about right away is the maps. So they on launch Modern Warfare 2, the original 2009 Modern Warfare 2 maps. That's all that was in the game. And people were like skeptical about it because this game was so complicated, because that was supposed to be possibly a DLC for last year's game. And again, not going to get too in depth about it. But yes, the Modern Warfare 2 maps from 2009 were your launch maps. Some people liked it, some people didn't. I'm on the fence, because I never played Modern Warfare 2 in its prime, so a lot of these maps I was kind of playing really for the first time. But then you get people that did play those maps way back in 2009, and they knew all the jumps and spots and all that stuff. So it was kind of like, oh, it's a learning curve for me. Where some of those other guys were like, I've done this over 10 years ago. This isn't fun. Or it got boring much quicker. Like, there was probably a nostalgia thing of being like, I get to play the Modern Warfare 2 maps again. Yeah, that's cool. Some people liked it, some people didn't. Anyway. The maps that came out after, like, postseason maps, fantastic. Almost every map was good, in my opinion. So Sledgehammer knocked it out of the park with the DLC maps. The one thing that they did a lot of, which you're seeing in the gameplay of, they did map variations. I don't hate this, but I hope that companies don't just do that. Like, make sure you're still making original maps. That is the big thing. Make sure original content is always in. So, that's kind of the quick thing with maps. So with Modern Warfare 3, you could use Modern Warfare 2 guns. I mean, it's the first time we've seen that. A lot of people have asked for that, to have carry forward stuff. But, like, for me, I could have cared less. I mean, I liked that the option was there, because if I spent money on a bundle, I could have used the weapon skin or the character, but most of the time, I was looking for what Modern Warfare 3 had to offer for their skins, their guns, and that stuff. So, I'm gonna be honest, other than like picking it up off the ground or in zombies, they were in the box. Again, we'll get to zombies later. Well, I didn't use the Modern Warfare 2 stuff. I just used the Modern Warfare 3 because that's what was in this game. So I used it. I used Modern Warfare 3 stuff. But I do like that they gave that option. And I do hope that feature does come back. I know going from Modern Warfare to a Treyarch game, it's not happening this year. Which, you know what? That's okay. But if they like did it between Treyarch titles, and then yeah. Anyway, not gonna get too crazy into that. So yeah, kind of talked about map variation, guns a little bit. Yeah, as you'll see in the gameplay, the MCW, that was one of the main go-to guns, and then the Rival 9. Those two were the guns that the Call of Duty pros used within the CDL. So they were very very good, and they were used a lot. But I did like the other variation of weapons. I have maxed out a lot of the SMGs, the ARs, because that's mostly what I play. I'm not a sniper, I'm not a good shotgun player. Pistols, not for me. But most of the ARs and the SMGs I've got maxed out. Because, yeah, I just wanted to play with all the guns. So, that's good. I'm not a camo grinder, I'm not going to go into that. But it did sound like this year, it wasn't terrible. From what I can recall. It's been almost a full year since really that was talked about. So, yeah, that's that. Let's talk about the playlists. So, pretty much every week a new playlist would come out. Different game modes would be in, like some of the more popular ones. Like Small Map Mosh Pit was usually in there at all times. They usually had, if there was like a new map out, they had that on a 24/7 playlist. They had party modes every once in a while. They had like snipers only, different game modes like that. And they also made a like Fall Guys type of map, the Get High game mode. That was fun playing that a couple times. It again, it's kind of like Fall Guys, where it's like an obstacle course, but there's not things trying to like knock you off. If that makes sense, kinda. Probably not. Basically, it's just an obstacle course. There's no guns. Does not need to be part of the first-person shooter genre, but Call of Duty put it in, and it's fun. So there's that. One game mode that I am very, very disappointed that they basically abandoned after Season 1 was War Mode. Sledgehammer Games, back in Call of Duty World War II, came out with a fantastic game mode called War. And no, it's not like the World at War mode. That's a whole thing. Anyway, it basically is you had objectives, there were no kill streaks. Great. It was fun. Back in World War II, they didn't bring it back in Vanguard, and they brought it back here in Modern Warfare 3. But the only thing is, on launch, there was one map. So that got old real quick. Season 1, or Season 1 Reloaded, or maybe even it was as late as Season 2? It's been a while since I had to do any research on this. basically, they've only added one war map since. And, yeah. It basically got scrapped, abandoned. I guess it just wasn't as popular this time around, or I don't know. It is what it is. Maybe we'll see it in another Sledgehammer titles game. And if so, hopefully it doesn't get abandoned. But honestly, that's kind of my big things on multiplayer, talking about the playlist. They updated them weekly. We'll see how well that happens for, after, Black Ops 6, if they continue to rotate stuff, or is there at some point they're just gonna be like, alright, here's like the very popular things, and then go from there. And just be like, yep, this is it, we're done. Yeah, but that's kind of the main things with multiplayer I kind of wanted to talk about. Of course, there were their bads, but guess what? I personally thought this game was a good game, so I'm not going to probably jab on it too much. But let's go over and talk about zombies. So now we have switched over to some zombies gameplay. So, Modern Warfare zombies. I'm gonna be honest, I was skeptical, but I was gonna give it a chance because I enjoyed DMZ back in Modern Warfare 2, and having a very similar feel for Modern Warfare zombies. I was like, okay, I can get on board with this. I'm gonna give it a shot. And gonna be honest, right away, a lot of the friend group, it did not. They were like, no, this isn't zombies, and they kind of dipped. So then there was just me. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest, I didn't play a ton of Modern Warfare Zombies right at the beginning because of that. And I didn't really like playing these big open world games kind of by myself. So once the friend group kind of dipped, I didn't play a whole lot. I played a little bit just because I enjoyed it, but not as much as I probably would have if the friend group like was in on it so much sooner. But over time, with updates and stuff, even though like not a whole lot changed, no new contracts got added, no new well, I shouldn't say, like some other, there were some new stuff within Modern Warfare Zombies. Again, that's a whole big thing of, like, at the very beginning, first season, a lot of content for Modern Warfare Zombies. New Warlord, new Dark Ether, Rift, things, all that crazy stuff. And then, as the seasons went on, less and less content came out, and it's whatever. But that was also because Treyarch made Modern Warfare Zombies, and then in like Season 2 or Season 3, they're just like, we got our own game to make and finish up, so we're out. And then they had a separate studio working on Modern Warfare Zombies. So again, that's a whole crazy thing. But yeah, open world zombies. I enjoyed it. There was this whole 3-tier system. There was your low tier, which was, of course, you had contracts. You started out with whatever gun you wanted. They brought back the ether tools that you can level up the guns to like rare, epic, legendary. Pack-a-punches were there, cool. Perks were there. The contracts, like I said, were there. Zombies were there. But one thing that people didn't like, and I was one of them, was they added AI to Modern Warfare Zombies. Just like the DMZ AI, when it wasn't other squads, there was usually people shooting at you in DMZ, which made sense. That's that kind of its thing. Zombies, not so much. And I mean, I'm still not 100% on board with it, but just again, like, zombies is... So, at the end of Black Ops 1, that Easter egg, you blow up the moon. And then Black Ops 2, they go back to Earth, and there's 4 people alive that we ever see. Like, wouldn't we see more people at some point in time? You would think. But no, it's just the crew. So I actually kind of don't hate the idea that, other than other people trying to take care of the zombies and try and eliminate them and all that there would be other people. And yeah, anyway, the AI, I have mixed feelings on them, I guess. I don't know. They're whatever. Yeah, so some contracts were better than others to do. Some were just awful, and those would be those AI merc contracts. Unless if you had to do them, don't do them. Yeah, it's... Modern Warfare Zombies was its thing. I think I was talking about the different tiers. So there was the low tier, and then there's the orange tier, the tier 2 zone. Zombies get a little faster. There's armored zombies. You get a couple different bosses, like, you have a better chance for mimics to spawn, and the Disciple makes its appearance in tier 2, where in tier 1 it was mostly dogs, manglers, and just zombies. If you went into, like, the Ether Nest, or the Ether Stronghold, or Infested Stronghold, and the Infested Nest, whatever they're called, you had a chance to see mimics in tier 1 there, but most of the time they were only in tier 2. And then again, the Disciple showed up, and the Mangler, the dogs, and the zombies were still there. And then tier 3, zombies got even faster. Still the armored zombies. You had zombies, you had dogs, you had the Disciple, mimics, manglers, and the Mega Abomination can spawn in tier 3. But remember the Abomination in Forsaken? Yeah, he got big. And so yeah, that's in tier 3. I'm not gonna go too crazy into the whole schematics and thing. Initially I was, but then I started talking about gameplay and stuff. But I'll maybe touch on it just a little bit, just because it kind of plays into the world. So schematics kind of can break Modern Warfare Zombies, because if you get all the good schematics, especially towards the end of the life cycle, you can basically just walk into tier 3, bring all the good stuff, and you're good to go. Yes, there are cooldowns on that stuff, so that balances out a little bit, but it is what it is, I guess. I don't know what I want to say here. One thing that I kind of wish that they would do is, after the end of the contracts, you get a reward rift that spawns. Be like, good job, you did the contract. You get paid, and then you get this reward rift. and this is in any tier 1, 2, or 3, and you have the possibility of getting like a self-revive, perks, guns not as often, unless if it's a wonder weapon, schematics, and usually once you get into, like, some of them were set for certain situations, like tier 1 had a couple schematics specifically in those contracts, tier 2 had a couple specific ones, and then tier 3 also had some specific ones, and the Dark Ether. Yeah, that's a way to do that. But once it gets into this weird randomization, like, there's schematics that I don't have, but that's also a little bit because I wasn't really playing the game as much very early on. So, like, I don't have all the schematics, and I'm not gonna go either pay someone or ask people to drop them because I want to earn them. That's what they were there for. Yeah. I don't know. I wish they would have done the schematics in a little bit different way. But it's whatever, I guess. Still, it gives me and give everyone that played the game mode a reason to jump in, trying to get schematics, but again, once you got them, there wasn't as much of a reason to play. So, there's that. And kind of going back towards the reward rift, I kind of wish those weren't there. I'm gonna be honest, but then that's a whole thing of trying to be like, how would you earn the schematics, yada yada, whatever. It's a system that needs to be worked on, I guess, personally, I think. Again, this is a lot of rambling, a lot of ums. I'm just thinking of things off the top of my head. I don't have a script, so sorry about that. So, yeah, the reward rift, I kind of wish went away, because you can earn, like, perks in-game through the reward rift, and you can earn ammo mods, and self-revives, which those are whatever, but then what's the point of some of the buy stations? I never really used them a couple times, but yeah, they put the Warzone buy stations, because this is the Warzone map. I probably should have mentioned that at the beginning. This is just the Warzone map. That they never gave us any of the other, like, Resurgence Warzone maps. They didn't give us any of those. It was just the big map. But anyway. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm even talking about anymore. Reward Rift, I kind of wish they went away, because I think the big one is perks. Perks just don't seem, I mean, they're useful, but they, like, the actual machines on the map are just kind of useless, I think, because throughout tier 1 and tier 2 there's the perk machines scattered around: Jug, Speed Cola, Quick Revive, Tombstone, PhD, and list goes on. Tier 2, again, some of them are there, some of them are only in tier 1. So, with how big the map is, you might be in the bottom left corner, you want Jug, you gotta either travel all the way to top right, bring it in yourself, or hope you get lucky in a reward rift. Or sometimes it's even just laying on counters and tables. Okay. I think the perk machines either did not need to be there, because, again, of the schematics, you can bring them in. That's most of the time how I do it. And if I'm waiting on a cooldown, for perks. I've, at least especially early on, I had a stockpile of them. So it's like I rarely go to a actual perk machine in Modern Warfare Zombies. Unless if I'm in Tier 3, which has the Wonder Fizz. It's the only place where the Wonder Fizz is in Tier 3. And that's a smart idea because people will go down in Tier 3 because it's the hardest zone if they're not set up and just buy perks real quick. That was a smart idea. Wonder Fizz Tier 3, good idea. The rest of the perk machines, I don't think they're needed. I'm gonna be honest. Just either get rid of the machines or don't put the perks in the reward rift. So then you have to either bring them in by schematic or you have to go find the machine. Just getting it randomly out of a contract reward rift, I feel like was just not good. The ether tools, they should have been in the more reward rifts. I feel like if anything, it's only a uncommon green tool that are in those. Those should have been in more often because I'm pretty sure that's almost the only way you can get them in game. Yes, there are the harvester orbs, or the harvest orbs, I can't remember exactly what they're called, that you can sometimes find throughout the map. They will usually give you a tool, either a green, a blue, purple. Very rarely you will get a legendary orange, and of course that's going to be based off of what tier you're in. But and then ammo mods you usually see from the infested strongholds or just the ether nest. That's usually the best way to get those if you're not bringing any in, it feels like. So some of that stuff I just don't think needs to be in the reward rift. So that's why, honestly, the reward rift needs to go. Personally, I think. But it's not a make or break, even though I just rambled about it on how I don't like it for probably way too long. But what else do I want to talk about? Again, the Dark Ether, it was cool. The story missions, that was a cool idea to get you just kind of started. The cutscenes were amazing at the end of each act. There was Act 1, 2, and 3 that launched. Again, told the story of Modern Warfare Zombies, introduced a couple characters. Okay. Act 4 came out, I believe was Season 1, and then they just kind of added missions within Act 4 for each of the other seasons, rather than just making own acts. Act 5, Act 6, anyway, whatever. Yeah, you got cutscenes at the end of those continuing to tell the story. It was a good story. And then, so that gave you a taste into the Dark Ether. Fabulous. And then you could do a small Easter egg to then get sigils to go back into the Dark Ether, and that's where you usually get a lot of that really good schematics, like the wonder weapons. A lot of them are in there. Well, not, there's one or two in there. And most of the classified stuff for the schematics that they added later in the game, those were in the Dark Ether, and that was the only way to get them. So yeah, you had to get elder sigils, go in there, and then you had to get like elder sigils out of the Dark Ether, and then go into a harder Dark Ether, and yeah, it's a whole thing. But it's how they wanted to do it, and I think for the most part they did a good job. Again, for not really playing much Modern Warfare Zombies at the beginning, I was kind of fell behind in the story missions, and then friend group kind of changed their mind, being like, we actually kind of like Modern Warfare Zombies. So then we started playing it a lot, and honestly, just recently have actually finished up. Like, honestly, not like a month ago from when this video is going live. If that, finished up the entire story missions for Act 1 through 4. All of them, so haven't really explored the Dark Ether much. And that's why I haven't got all the classified schematics and all that stuff. But, again, that's kind of a rant on its own. But, open world zombies, it's a lot of fun. Oh, that's one thing I should talk about quick. Kind of... most people are probably gonna disagree with me. I actually like the time limit. Most people are probably, I want to explore for 3 hours on this map. It's like, no, because then you can do everything, and what's the point of the tiers at that point? They're trying to make you go from starting in tier 1, especially early on, before you get all your schematics and stuff, and trying to build up to tier 3. They're not expecting you to go into tier 3 in your very first match and survive. That's just not going to happen. They're trying to make you come back and play another game, and just keep you coming back, and that's why the time limit is there. And I personally actually like it for open world zombies. If they brought that in to round-based, that would not fly. And they did, no, I was, never mind. I was thinking they did, Sledgehammer kind of tried in World War II Zombies with Tortured Path. They did it in a weird way, not necessarily exactly timed, but it had a cutoff of like 10 rounds. Anyway, that's a thing. But I think with the open world zombies, it needs the time limit. Because back in Black Ops Cold War Outbreak, that was the first open world zombies that we kind of have an idea for what we know as open world zombies for Call of Duty. And personally, I thought that was the most boring way to play zombies ever. If that had a time limit, or maybe if they structured it maybe a little bit better, so you didn't have to like do the main mission, because you could go into Modern Warfare Zombies and just drive a car, refuel, and just drive for as long as you want. Well, for 45 minutes. But like in Outbreak, you could technically still do that in the first world. But then if you wanted to continue, you had to do a mission. It's like, okay. And in order to technically end the game, you had to finish that mission. Or just die and bleed out. There was not an exfil like there is in Modern Warfare Zombies, which is a cool addition. So you don't just bleed out and die and lose all the stuff, but that's kind of why they made it this way. So you had to keep coming back and keep building your character and whatnot. So, I don't know. I think the time limit is a good idea. Do I think it needs to be adjusted? Yes. I know I've heard some people be like, it doesn't need adjusting. Most people say it does, and I agree, it does. But a lot of those people are like, adjust it to 2+ hours. No. For how they have it structured, that would totally break the game. Because you would sit in tier 3. for all of it, because you can just bring in Wonder Waffs and stuff. Like, they try and make you build the character as you play. And I mean, even how they kind of have it now, it can get kind of broken. Because if you have all the schematics, you can go to Tier 3 basically instantly and spend all 40 minutes in Tier 3 if you wanted. It's whatever. Yeah, they did that. But I do think it should be bumped up from 45 minutes up to an hour. Give it that extra 15 minutes. But yeah, I don't know. Modern Warfare Zombies was a good mode, I personally think. My main concern is it gonna survive? Because for whatever reason, you have to always be online. There's not an offline mode, because you have to be on this map with other teams. Up to, I think, 24 players, because, yeah. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why you need, unless if they wanted to make a PvP thing, which I'm glad they didn't, because that would also make this mode basically a little bit more of a copycat from DMZ, but in a worse way, especially with Treyarch doing Easter eggs and stuff, and just trying to get schematics. It would be just bad. Anyway, but since it's not PvP, why do I have to go into matches with others? It's a cool idea if you want to group up into teams of 6. You can only start with 3, and then you have to ask other teams if they want to squad up, just like in DMZ. But most of the time, unless if I'm playing with the friend group, I'm going solo, and that's it. But it is kind of nice because of how they do it, of being like, if you go down, you can go into the global chat and be like, hey, I'm down, Tier 1 at the Fortress Warlord, whatever, which is just not, it's a boss mark. Let's go with that. Boss AI, human enemy boss. Anyway, that's not the point. But yeah, you could just be like, yep, I'm down here. Can you come pick me up? And that would be that. So then you didn't lose your stuff if someone came and picked you up. But otherwise, there's not a point for having other teams in there. And I think that's where Modern Warfare Zombies and even DMZ are gonna eventually fall off. Because I can go back to Black Ops 1, play Kino der Toten as much as I want. But maybe in 5 years, I will never be able to come back to Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, because it's going to have to try and find players. And if it can't find the players, it's just a dead mode, and it's... yeah. So, I do hope they do go through and be like, alright, you don't have to be looking for other players, and you can just explore that map all by yourself. And if you go down, you just have to get good. But I think I've been rambling a lot. I'm starting to get fatigued, and it's getting warm next to my setup. So I'm gonna stop rambling. But yeah, that's kind of my goodbye to Modern Warfare 3 2023. Talked some good about multiplayer, some good about zombies, and well, let's go look at the final stats between multiplayer and zombies. Well, there we have it. That was kind of my overview of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 2023. Showed off some zombies, some multiplayer, final games, and yes, the mic quality is going to be a little bit different here in this part than it was kind of talking about what I liked about the game, what I didn't, all that fun stuff. But I wanted to do this section of the video as kind of a live comm section, so that's why the mic quality is going to be a little different. But I wanted to go through kind of those final stats. So let's drop down here. So for multiplayer, quick overview. Top weapon, the MCW. I talked about that a little bit. That was like the go-to gun for everybody. I know it was the big thing in the CDL, stuff like that. Fantastic. Yeah, but just kind of give an overview. Spent almost a day and a half in multiplayer. 240 games played. My win-loss ratio is terrible. And then even comparing that to last year's game, it is terrible. My KD ratio is actually better than last year. Not by much, but for me, I usually hover around about a 1, and I'm happy with it. So, but to go into a little bit further stats for multiplayer, here are the top 3 weapons again. MCW, Rival 9, those were the big CDL guns. There you go. Yeah. My kills, deaths, my win-loss, my highest kill game, highest kill streak, and then victories by game mode. That's kind of the overview for what I did within Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer. So, let's hop over into zombies. This is where most of the time was spent. Yeah, just over 4 days. That is insane. I did not realize I had that much time into Modern Warfare 3 zombies. Yeah, 50,000 kills, pretty good exfil success rate, deployments 166. Let's jump in a little closer. Holger 556, I guess, was my top weapon. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's yeah, I spent way too much time in zombies, I guess. But I mean, that's it. That's kind of final stats for Modern Warfare 3 2023. And if you didn't care about the stats, okay, that's fine. But that's it. That's seriously it. In a couple hours' time, we'll be playing Black Ops 6. So, if you enjoyed this video, though, I would appreciate a like, subscribe, so you don't miss any of that Black Ops 6 content, and of course, I will be coming back to Modern Warfare 3 2023. It was a fun game. I enjoyed it, but yeah, there we go. It's been a fun year, but it's time for Black Ops 6. So, until my next video and or live stream, I'll catch you all next time.